Elon Musk and tech titans sounding the alarm on artificial intelligence. Over 1,000 leaders penning a letter calling for an immediate pause on new, powerful AI systems, citing potential risks to society. The leaders warn that no one can understand, predict, or reliably control AI, and that the programs could spread propaganda and make many jobs obsolete. New research finds that the technology could impact 80% of the workforce. The CEO of the company behind ChatGPT recently warning how the powerful tool will reshape society.
We've got to be cautious here. I think people should be happy that we're a little bit scared of this. I think people should be happy.
You're a little bit scared.
A little bit, yeah,
You
of course.
personally.
I think if I said I were not, you should either not trust me or be very unhappy I'm in this job. This will be the greatest technology humanity has yet developed.
So, Greg, he's a little bit scared, but he didn't sign the letter.
Well, all AI is creating predictions based on the answer key called life, or humanity, right? It crowdsources all the stuff we've done, whether it's medicine or crime. So ultimately, it would predict where your cancer is and when it's going to come, and when and if you're going to get mugged, what street it will be. All it's doing is it's pulling the curtain behind the casino, because all life is probability. That's all it is. That's what our brain does every day. We're always trying to figure out what's going to happen next. He's right in the sense that you need humanity to interact with AI in order to shape it. If you don't have humanity dealing with it, you won't find the pluses or the minuses. Elon's right to call a pause on it, but for a different reason. AI isn't the enemy of the people. It's the enemy of the media. The media is the most destructive force in our lives right now by monetizing outrage. It's taken every single story in our lives, and it finds the best way to upset us, right? It's trying to attract eyeballs through conflict. AI done right will present reality as opposed to fake news. So I made a list. Would AI have pushed weapons of mass destruction? No. Would AI have called riots mostly peaceful? No. Would it called Leah Thomas a woman? No. AI would not. AI would not cause a run on banks. It would have identified that one bank as an anomaly. We have mass shootings, right? AI would know to pull back on coverage based on statistics of probability. So every single problem in life can be fixed with AI if you figure out the right way to do AI, and therefore it's the news media that should be terrified. Without AI, men are women, criminals are victims, property, whether it's goods or your home, are up for the taking. These are toxic ideas that flourish in our industry. It's time to change that, and I think AI will do that.
Wow. Well,
Wow,
I'm fascinated by what you're saying because I don't understand it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand it. But it seems to me whatever information is being fed into it is the information it's going to spit out. Okay? So at first, okay. But this is my concern. My concern is this is about business, all right? So you're dealing with businessmen there. Are they competing with each other? Are they competing with people from other countries? Are there other competitors out there? Are they going to short circuit to get the most money in the end or have the most control? You know, is China involved? Is Russia involved? I mean, all these problems are just raised to another level. And it kind of reminds me of the internet. In the beginning of the internet, we were talking about the Communications Decency Act and how should it be written. I remember I was working on the statute, or whether or not they would have liability, or are they a publisher, or is it just an open forum? I mean, there's so many questions that I don't know to ask, but what I do know is that it's going to respond based upon what is fed into it.
Okay. Based on that, do you think taking this 6-month pause, Jillian, makes sense?
Yes, but nobody's going to do it.
Even the ones who signed the letter?
Correct, because they're not ultimately the ones who are going to need to make that decision. They're asking the government to intervene and force all other AI developers to take this pause. They're not voluntarily signing up to take the pause. There's not a commitment built into the letter, and for that reason, I think it's completely disingenuous. And I think the architects of these AI programs that are leading right now are fully aware of the fact that this ship sailed years ago. The genie is way out of the bottle. They're like a day late and a dollar short, whatever any of those sayings are. It applies here. I think this is these executives trying to curry favor with America because they realized that they have created the beginnings of this technology that will one day control all of human life and all of human behavior. And they don't want to be in the history books as having created this monster, because at first, as Greg did a good job of laying out, it spits out what is input. That's in the very infancy of AI. I mean, 10 years from now,
no, 10 weeks
won't matter one iota what we input into
recursive.
the
It'll
machines
just get faster.
Today. It literally takes on a life of its own at some point. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is
no, that's
by
true.
the way,
That's reality.
A great book, Judge, to read about AI is The Big Nine. I read it like a year or two ago. It is amazing. It's about all the big, the U.S. and Chinese artificial intelligence companies. It's fantastic, and it really explains the lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, what do you think?
Most Americans are worried about robots taking their jobs. Here's why you shouldn't worry about it. Robots can't be consumers.
We're already laughing.
Robots can't buy anything. Robots don't get wages, and they can't contribute to 401ks. Robots can't be taxed. You'd basically destroy 2/3 of the economy because 2/3 of the economy is driven by consumer spending. So you're cannibalizing your entire workforce. No businessman is going to do that, and no politician is going to allow to that because it reduces economic activity. It also said that these things could get so smart they could make human slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm not worried about that.
Why?
Because computers are only motivated by efficiency, and slaves are not efficient. If you look at the Southern economy versus the Northern economy,
Oh my God.
the Southern economy was incredibly inefficient. It was incredibly inefficient. It was a backwards economic model. So they'll never go down that road. And why can't you just build a kill switch? Or why can't you have Fauci just invent a virus and give it to the computer? Lastly, the thing I want to say, I agree with Judge. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And at some point, you just have to let Silicon Valley and the deep state and Elon Musk just decide everything. And you know what? If they make me a slave, I had a good run.
Yeah, you did have a good run.
I had a good run.
No, I think they won't make you a slave. They'll just kill you.
Yeah.
See, that's the economy.
I still had a good run.
You did.
Oh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.